Hello all. So today's lesson is on weeding. I know most of you live in a house where you will have to do at least some type of weeding, whether it's flower beds, whether it's a garden, whether it's around the house. And I know a couple of you live in rented buildings, which you wouldn't have to do any weeding. But two things. One, hopefully someday you'll be able to live in a place where you could have a small yard and do some weeding. And secondly, it might be a job that you're interested in the future, some type of landscaping job. So I'm going to flip this around here and I'm going to show you a few different things. So what I have here is just a bucket and a claw, and I'll get to the claw in a second. But the first thing I'm going to show you is one of the most important places to do weeding is up against the house, right? So anything that's green, that's growing up against your house, up against in the cracks, needs to come out. And why is that? All right. So first of all, it just doesn't look right. And see, I'm putting it in there. Second of all, I can kind of show you here in the bricks, it's here, and the weeds get in here, right? And these are really tough to get out. And it'll start making it where it'll actually move the pavement or the bricks after a while, okay? So the important thing about weeding, and I'll get back to the bricks, that's a hard job. So, is that if you go and you just kind of pull like that and pull this, that's not good because you really didn't get much of the root. So if it still has roots, it's going to grow back pretty quickly. So see that? See how I got all the roots? So that area is completely done. And so that's a stick, and I'll show you again. So if I go like that, that's not good, all right? So see how there's no roots there? So I want to make sure that I get the roots. If you get the roots, then it's gone, all right? That one's gone forever, but because there's dirt and sunlight, all right, and moisture, you are going to get weeds back, all right? So this is a job that has to be done, every week, every other week, just to make sure that things are not growing and making cracks in your pavement, or in this case, the garage, okay? These are a little tougher. You have to really get down. See how I'm not pulling up here, I'm pulling down here, right? And that didn't really come out. So I can kind of take this claw, and it's a little tougher there. There we go, right? There's the root. All right, and now we are all set. So now let me show you a little more traditional way of doing it. I'm gonna walk over here to the garden, all right? So as you can see on my garden, I have a fence around it. I have these pie tins, so people are like, why do you have the pie tins? Well, as you can see, something dug underneath my fence here and got a lot of my green beans. So believe it or not, that used to be a green bean plant like that, but the top's were eaten off. So this makes enough of a noise when it's hit that it scares the animals away. So there's a little helpful hint here. So I can quickly show you. I'm gonna come in through the garden here. And why it's important to weed around plants, and here's a tomato plant, okay, is that the weeds will come up and choke the plant. So you wanna make sure that you once again, get in the root and get them around the plants. And then this is what the claw is for, is you can take it, and you don't want to go too near the plant because you don't want to rip up the plant. But you can use the claw, and look at that. It just dug it right up, and then you can pull it away. So once again, if you pull it just by the leaf, you're not going to get it. So you have to make sure you get the root, all right? And with these wide open areas, you can use the claw and see how it pulls it right up, all right? Same thing in these buckets, right? Is that you want to make sure that you're getting all these weeds up, all right? So they don't grow up and choke the plants, okay? So now we'll go to the flower beds, all right? And that's a little easier to spot the weeds, right, for the most part. So once again, by the house here, there isn't a lot, but you want to make sure you get them by the house so they're not growing in, to your cement. Eventually, believe it or not, this will obtain moisture, and you can kind of see there's still a little moss here That's not good for your foundation, all right? So you want to make sure that you get weeds away from your house, all right? There we go. I'm just going to pull these last few out here. This is one of those jobs that isn't my favorite, but has to be done, right? Some people like the outside work, and I do overall. I like more of the mowing, all right? And using the trimmer, you know, more machines I like, all right? And then the same thing in this mulch area. Obviously the big plants are there, but these are all weeds in between, and I am gonna need some mulch soon. And you wanna make sure the mulch will actually help keep the weeds from coming up, but it's not foolproof. But before you put the mulch down, if you are gonna replace the mulch, you have to make sure every weed is out with the roots, right? If not, it'll grow back. So I just want to show you one more thing. So dandelions are weeds that grow in your yard. They start off yellow, right? And then they turn into these fun things that people, when you were a kid, you know, you'd take it. I'm gonna pull this out by the weed too. You go and you blow, right? But sometimes you'll have plants that look like weeds. So here, let me show you. So here is the weed, right? So you have the fluffy part there, and then you have this part. But look at this. Kind of looks the same, right? Where is it? That and that. However, when you go down further, this is a plant. And this was flowered, but that's why I wanted to show you that, hey, this is the weed, all right? But that's a plant. So before you do any weeding around your house, let me flip this around, you wanna make sure that you talk to mom and dad and make sure that you're not pulling out plants. Plants are pretty expensive, and obviously they're put there overall so it looks pretty for at least part of the time. Obviously, this isn't the prettiest thing right now, but it was pretty much blooming last week. It was a nice white flower that did turn into like a little poofy thing, but you know, it's not gone now, but it'll come back later in the summer. But this here, over here, is the weed, right? Oh, and see, I didn't get all of that. So I can go in with the claw, right? And look at that. So now it won't come back, all right? So what can you do with the weeds? So you can actually put them all in a pile if you have a spot near your yard and put it as a compost, all right? I'm pretty fortunate in that, as you can tell, I'm surrounded by woods, and I just have a spot right here, right? Do that, and you can see that we have some nice dirt there already, okay, from last year. So that's a weeding video. Just once again, please be careful. You want to make sure that you're not pulling out any plants, but the weeds, when you get them away, they won't choke your plants. Your flower beds will look better. Your vegetables will grow better if you keep up with the weeding, and now you can help out around the house. Thank you so much. Bye.